Hi, Steve here, and welcome to the day. Seems like my lights are flashing, or the room is flashing. Um, Today is Sunday, April 7th, and once again, I'm um, I'm using the maxim. I'm just using the term maxim, even though I don't know what maxim actually means. But, or modus operandi, I have a sense of what that means. And what maxim means is maybe a saying, which is what I'm doing. So I could have said, I like the saying rather than the maxim. But we won't get lost in words. We're already somewhat lost in words, and we're coming out of being lost in words. So many words. So I like the saying, we don't have to rehearse to be ourselves. I heard that in the 70s, and now I'm in my 70s. And I still like it as much as I did then. I also like another term that my dear friend Lee and his then wife Jan told me in some course they took on conscious living in San Diego, California in the late 60s, early 70s. It must have been the early 70s because that's when I was living on their vineyard in Northern California, their startup vineyard. I actually helped to plant the grape plants, so it was really just, and pound the grape steaks, so it was really just beginning. But the saying that they said to me is, have no expectations, but abundant expectancy. So look forward to what is coming, but don't hold too strong of a vision of what you want it to look like, because then you're basically setting yourself up for disappointment. But with abundant expectancy, with just an attitude of, this is going to be great, regardless. I mean, if you state it and you go into it to state it, this is going to be great, then there's a possibility that it will be great. So that's abundant expectancy. But we don't know what's going to be great or where it's going to be great or how great we'll feel about it when it happens. But we're in an amazing, April itself, it's the change of all the plants. They're all budding out. There's all this growth energy. There's all this energy bursting out. And creation is really in full gear in April in this part of the world. Now, you may be in you may be in another world altogether. And we may all be in different worlds. We are all in different worlds. Because if we create our own reality, and we have created a reality inside ourselves that has produced this reality outside of ourselves, and your reality is different than my reality, and then we argue over reality, but we're arguing over a creation. So if you're old enough to remember Etch-a-Sketch, and for those of you who aren't old enough to remember Etch-a-Sketch, in case there is an Etch-a-Sketch now, it was a way that you could turn little knobs and make little pictures by something, maybe just removing some of the material that was inside. So it was kind of a reverse imaging kind of thing. And then when you were done, I could spend hours on it. You could turn it upside down and shake it, and it was a do-over. And then it was all clear again, and you could just start doing another picture and then shake it and do another picture. It's kind of like how I see life right now. So I've been feeling like I'm living between worlds. There's like the world of the past that I'm letting go of, the world of the present that in many ways I'm letting go of, and the world of the future I'm opening to. So let's just start together, if this feels right to you to do. State these words out loud, and I'll give you a moment after I say them for myself, then you can just say them for yourself. The first one is, I choose to connect to my deep self. And you can just say that. It's hard for me not to smile when I'm looking at myself, but I just see myself as much cooler than this. But I look and I go, somewhere between Austin Powers and Bernie Sanders. Okay, so you've connected to your deep self. Now I would ask you to state out loud, I ground myself to the healing center of the earth. And notice what you feel when you do that. And I open myself to the healing power of the One. And just say the One and notice what you notice. Okay, so today, children, I am such a child, so I don't know how as a child you could say, today, children. I mean, I guess we're all children in oneness. So today, I've set up a healing field for the world, and you are part of the world. Matter of fact, I've set up a healing field for you because your world is your world. And so the world is your world. So I've set up a healing field for the world. So we've gone back to some event in a place free of time and space. We're back at the event on a soul level. Every soul affected by that event is back at that event, releasing and integrating the energy of the event for themselves. We're all in a field of protection. And so you, just by, connecting through this screen or connecting to the field of relationship that you're creating with me, and through that field of relationship, we're releasing any energies that we're done with, that are no longer serving us for our highest good. And so we're releasing a trauma, an event from the past, possibly another life, where there's the googly eyes again, where another life where we had a loss of life and didn't get over it on a soul level and carried it with us into the next life, the next life, the next life, the next life. So today is the day to just release that. I want you to think about, I don't know, I was an altar boy. I don't even know why I do this. I see my hands go together like that, and I'm like, that's just so strange. But anyway, we are in the day, from what I understand, I'm sure that this is actually true, that there's going to be a solar eclipse, and I won't say who, because she don't want me to talk about her on these videos, but someone I was talking to this morning was telling me that this solar eclipse is moving, like maybe it's the full eclipse or something, is moving through New Mexico, and I think heading up maybe towards the East Coast or maybe towards the Mid-East or whatever. But anyway, that kind of like from the Southwest, maybe up to the Northeast. I don't know if that's true. I haven't looked it up, and I apologize if it's not true, and I've kind of thrown you off your solar course. You can just hop right back on. Get on your own solar course if you actually know. You can, in the comment section, saying, well, it's going to go through, wherever it's going to go through. But we are in possibly, this is a construct, and it seems accurate to me, we are in the shadow of the eclipse. And it feels like we're in of the energy of the day before the eclipse. Tomorrow will be in the energy of the eclipse. And the next day will be in the shadow of the other side of the eclipse. So it's a process. Um, you, I don't want to give you any information about it because I have none. Although I've noticed on the side rail when I watch my YouTube videos, which is I spend a fair amount of time because information comes in that I don't understand until I've heard it 3 or 4 times. So I'm pretty much spending most of my time either making these videos or watching these videos and having healing experiences that, you know, are based on fields set up for us to have healing experiences. So tomorrow, I'm looking. Let's go back to today, and today I looked up the kin for the day. So if you don't know about kin, the Mayan calendar, you can go to 13moon.com. It'll say Dakota birth date. You can put your month, day, and year of birth, hit Dakota date, and you'll be told which of the 20 kin that you are. So like in astrology, there's sun signs, and there's 12 sun signs. And in the Mayan calendar, there are 20 kin. So like 20 planets, I think, related to the sun sign, or no, just the sun sign, 20 sun signs, and 12 planets, I think. And in this, there are 20 kin. And you can find out your kin, so you'll know what they are. But I check this on a daily basis. I got the calendar. I ordered it from 13moon.com. I've been getting the calendar for a number of years. And it's easier for me to just look and see what the day is. So today is a day of the red moon. And so I'm just going to read you a little bit about it. It's related to the root chakra, which the color of the earth, the color of the energy that comes up through our feet that charges our Dantian, our body battery just below the belly button. The color of that energy that comes up is red. The color of the earth is red. And the color of the first chakra is red. So today is a day of charging and opening the root chakra in our body. And the root chakra is located in the area of the sacrum, and the sacrum relates to our identity. And our identity is changing. So our sacrum is changing. So kind of the rigid stance we've held about ourselves in the past to feel safe in a world that didn't feel safe, well, we would just lock into this, oh, this is just who I am. Well, if you don't like it, you can just shove it, all that stuff. You know, we're like, okay, let's just get more flexible. Let's not give up our ideals and what we feel is right for us to be in the world, but let's give up our rigidity about it so we can be more flexible and able to change at a moment's notice, which is, it's good to have that going at this time. So let me just tell you a little bit more about the red moon. Maybe first I'll put it up so you can possibly read it if it's in focus. And so I'm just going to read a little bit about it. It's related to the root chakra, and it's about purification, universal water, and the flow. And the saying from Heraclitus, that's in quotes, so it must be true. You cannot step twice in the same river, for fresh waters are ever flowing in. So the symbol for red moon appears like a beacon, a portal, inviting us into self-remembrance of who we are in our purity. Red moon is a messenger of the ever-present opportunity to renew one's being, to rejuvenate, to cleanse ourselves, that we may be free of toxins, falsehoods, distortions, and disserving energies. To refine ourselves as clear vessels, to restore health and well-being, perhaps the strongest forces of experience as a divine gift. Oh no, sorry. Perhaps the strongest forces of purification are gratitude and forgiveness. Acknowledging the totality of our human experience as a divine gift, and remembering we are ever learning innocent students of life. The power of universal water invites us to call upon our fluidity, adaptability, resilience, and ability to change states. Flow reminds us of the law of impermanence, asserting that change is the only constant in life. In a continual process of release and renewal, we cycle in phase with nature's rhythm. And I'm going to let you read. There's a little bit more of that, but you can freeze, hit the pause button on the screen and read whatever else you want of that. Per usual, I pulled cards for us today. And so you can feel like this is a reading for you if you feel you are part of us. And the us I'm referring to are those of us who feel we are part of the one consciousness. We're all a part of it. It's not male per se, it's not female per se. It's just the consciousness that is. I am that I am. You might want to say that out loud. It just kind of opened up some energetics when I said it. So I'm going to say it one more time. I am that I am. And I'm saying that from my deep self that I'm fully connected with, and my higher self that I'm open to. Okay, so the card we got of the past was the card we got, I think, yesterday as the future. So the future, of course, it was yesterday, was the future. Well, today is the past. But what we got yesterday as the past is the Wheel of Fortune. So just to let you know, there are approximately 78 cards in the tarot deck. There are 22 trump cards. So not quite a third of the cards are trump cards, which are the major arcana. You can look up that stuff. I don't want to explain it, especially to people who actually understand maybe the tarot even better than I do. I just love the tarot, and that's why I work with it a lot. So the Wheel of Fortune card was the card we got as our future. I think it was the card we got as our future. Anyway, the Wheel of Fortune is the universal principle of abundance, prosperity, and expansion. In astrological terms, this is Jupiter, the planet of luck, opportunity, and abundance. I don't know why I do this, but I like it must be some kind of mudra. Because I can feel myself doing this. I'm going like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, maybe you're talking like a talking head. So maybe my hands, I try to butt in and say something more intelligent. We'll see. I'll let it say something more intelligent. It's not hard with me. Okay, we're just going to continue on and see if we can get the hand to just stay out of the picture. All right. So the symbol of the Wheel of Fortune reminds us that the goddess Fortuna in Roman mythology, that we can turn our lives in more fortunate and positive directions by, here goes the hand, being objective like the Sphinx, being flexible like the monkey, and reaching for new opportunities and ways to express our creative power like the crocodile. The stars exploding into lightning bolts represent the experience of awakening to the possibilities that can turn our lives in more positive and expansive directions. Often these experiences are referred to as the aha or peak experience, or that light bulb effect where we expand and feel inspired. The swirls in the background are a reminder that expansion and abundance come with a willingness to change and keep things moving by taking risks and being open to new opportunities. Now, when I say the past, I feel like the past is now because we carry the past. What we can do, though, is release all the emotions of all the events of the past so that they can all be resolved and integrated and can go from being traumas. If they have emotions attached to them, we're not finished with them, they can be called traumas or overwhelming events. Once we release the emotions of them, they become events. Once the emotions are cleared, they're just events. They're just experiences we have had. And so while we're doing this little conversation, monologue, be honest, while we're doing this little monologue together, we are also connected to a healing field to clear some event that affected us in the past. So we're just resolving that on a soul level. And some of you, if you're conscious about it, you can tell me, as some of my friends have done in the comment section, I went back, I was in, Italy, or I was in Ireland, or whatever, and there was a battle, or whatever it is. I'm not trying to put these ideas in your head. You may have some memory when you're back there as a soul level, but you don't need to. You may just feel some energies clearing, and to me, that's enough. I don't need to remember, I don't need to see the traumas I've had in the past again. Past, present, future, there's now. And so the past is present, the future is present now. So the Wheel of Fortune, I remember talking about this in maybe the video yesterday. The Wheel of Fortune, it's kind of like the roulette wheel. If you've ever been to a casino and there's this wheel going around, and I think the colors are red and black, so you can put money down on red or money down on black, or money down on a number. There's maybe a lot of numbers in there, and you can put money down on a number. If it lands on that number, you make lots of money. That's the idea. So the concept of the Wheel of Fortune is we will have something coming to us based on finishing the spot where the number fell last. So like letting go of the past, we pick up the ball from the roulette wheel and spin the wheel, and the ball drops and bounces around and settles on some new experience for you to have. So that's the Wheel of Fortune. And it feels really good to get the Wheel of Fortune as the first thing we think about. The fortunate things that are possible to happen for us. And all healing involves change. So here we're at a place of, especially April, of such change. And the more we're like the water, where we let it flow and we let it purify, or purify as well, but purify and cleanse, the more we release and let go and let things change. So, Wheel of Fortune. Then the next thing that we get is the Present, which is the Chariot. And they're all trump cards today. And that's what I was trying to tell you earlier. There's 22 trump cards out of the 78, and it's unusual, highly unusual, that you get all trump cards. It means that there's major stuff happening right now. So there it is, the Chariot, which is the 7 of trumps. And what it says about the Chariot is that motion or change and identity or rest are the first and second secrets of nature. Motion and rest. The whole code of her laws may be written on the thumbnail. And that was, it's not in quotes, but supposedly, so maybe he didn't say it, maybe he wrote that as Emerson. And I'm just guessing that that's Ralph. You know, Ralph Emerson. I think he was a writer, probably a philosopher, and maybe had something to do with Walden Pond or something. You know, that guy. Ralph. Yeah. Maybe Ralph Waldo. Where's Waldo? Okay. Enough of the fool. Stop having such a good time. This is serious business right here. We're just totally changing the world in this moment. And you have to ask yourself the question, can you be changing the world if you're having a really good time? I like that question. I think so. I'm going to answer yes. Okay, the Chariot, number 7, represents the universal principle of change and causation. Taoist philosophy states that change is successful when both the great rooted tree by the flowing river are combined within a natural setting. The nature metaphor is a reminder that during times of change it's necessary to incorporate in equal proportion the qualities of quietude, the great rooted tree, with activity, the flowing river. And I think that was also the Mayan was the flowing river. So there was mention of that. And that happens often, is the Mayan reading for the day ends up connecting pretty well completely with the tarot reading for the day. So like 3 days ago, I think the Mayan kin was about death, and the card we got in the tarot was the death rebirth card. So this happens frequently. So here we are again, water, flowing rivers. The Chariot illustrates that change is pervasive in all that it touches, in that it touches every individual multidimensionally, which is pictured by the 4 pillars, the 4 wheels, and the 4 animals. All of these symbols represent the 4 elements of the elemental aspect of who we are mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. The charioteer holds the wheel of fortune in his or her hands, reminding us that through choice we have the ability to select fortunate, positive, and abundant changes for ourselves. In times of contemplating the changes that we want to make, it is important for us to assess which changes will assist our growth and evolution, and which ones will be nurturing, comforting, and supporting to us at this point in time. So basically, the charioteer in the picture is holding, so the charioteer in the picture is holding the Wheel of Fortune. So the Wheel of Fortune was the first card we got, and the Chariot was the second card we got. And the charioteer is holding the Wheel of Fortune. I swear. I don't understand it well enough to go in and try to make up these tarot readings like, oh, I'm going to make this one really cool. I'm going to put the Wheel of Fortune, and then I'm going to put the Chariot, and then people just think that it's just the coolest thing. And I don't do that. I just shuffle the deck and I say, okay, past, present, future. So, future, which is now, and the present is now, and the past is now. All our relationships, all our relations are now. Now is all that exists. So we can talk about the future now. And I want to just say that I used to get concerned when I would see this card. And so if you have concern rise up for you when you see this card, just know that eventually you won't. You just will see the card and go, oh, change, the card of change. Because really, they're all the cards of change, because change is the only constant. So the future could be the past, could be the present, but in this case, it's the future. The future is the Hanged Man, and it could be the Hanged Woman. These are kind of, all these tarot came out during the 13,000 years of patriarchy that we're coming out of. So now I guess we're going into 13,000 years of matriarchy. And maybe we won't have like the Hanged Woman. And maybe we won't even have the Burning Woman, Maybe we'll just have the goddess. That's a possibility. But the Hanged Man is a symbol of, oh goodness, change. Change? More change? And this is the 12th. The Wheel of Fortune was the 10th. The Chariot was the 7th. And the Hanged Man is the 12th of trumps, the 12 of trumps. So it's actually X, which is 10 in Roman numerals, and 1-1. So the Hanged Man represents the universal principle of recognizing and awakening to repetitive patterns that bind, limit, and restrict our growth and evolution. I think these could also be referred to as habits that restrict our evolution. I don't know about you, but I've been very aware of my habits that restrict my evolution over the past, let's just say 6 years, but I'm 73, so over the past 73 years, but the past 6 years, in the 28-year cycle of change and cleansing, 7 years, 97 to 2004 was physical, 2004 to 2011 was mental, 2011 to 2018 was emotional, 2018 to 2025 is spiritual. 2018, the spiritual cleanse started. You might have noticed it more in 2020 because maybe 2018 to 2020, you were like wondering what the heck was going on. And then you were told, well, this is what's going on. And then you either went, whatever, or you went, oh no, whatever. I don't know what any of us did. Unfortunately, I was on Facebook at the time and I wrote all my thoughts about it, and then I disappeared from Facebook, which was a really good thing. Okay, So the hangman represents the universal principle of recognizing and awakening to repetitive patterns that bind, limit, and restrict our growth and evolution. And as I said, a quote that I read the other day is that our beliefs are the fence that keeps us in that consciousness. The hangman is the pattern breaker. In order to break limiting patterns, it's often necessary to take a distinctly different posture or stance, such as turning ourselves upside down to get another view of a restrictive pattern or stuck place in consciousness that is being experienced. The hangman represents that state of consciousness which requires that we move beyond ego and trust the deeper aspects of who we are. This is the state of surrender and acceptance, which is a preliminary step required before we can free ourselves from destructive and limiting patterns that we experience in our lives. Often this symbol might be viewed as the crucifixion of the ego or of the egoic patterns which are no longer constructive. The universal symbol associated with repetitive patterns is the labyrinth, represented by the squares within the background of this card. To use modern terms, the hangman reminds us that our hang-ups can either prevent our growth and evolution, or they can serve to teach us where we need to free ourselves from undue self-imposed limitations. This symbol ultimately teaches us that there are always many more options, solutions, and perspectives to consider than those in which we are currently invested. Often when we experience ourselves being bound or limited, there is a sense of being numb, asleep, depressed, or blind. The sleeping snakes remind us that nothing is renewed or regenerated when we are fixated or stuck. So the hanged man is the principle of surrender, and the words are breaking old patterns. So I don't know about you, but I'm going to be reflecting on the consciousness that came through these vocal cords, but came through to you, and you, and you, and you, and you, which are all yous, or all I's. We are the I am. I am that I am. And you are that I am. And we're all that I am. And when we own that state, when we get rid of all the things that are limiting perspective of ourselves and say, we're just a part of the oneness. And isn't that great? And we, on some level, I can say clearly that I serve the oneness. And you can say, well, can you talk more about the oneness so I can understand it better? And I say, no, I can't. Because, once you connect with it, then you know it. And you may connect with it and stay connected, or you may kind of go in and out of the consciousness of it. You can go in and out of the consciousness of the deep self. You can say, I connect to the deep self, and then you can feel yourself in the deep self. You can feel the peace and the flow and the calmness of the deep self. The more you meditate, not meditate, but just focus on being inside your deep self, which by an analogy is the center of your being, is the inside of your spine. It is where your human consciousness resides, in your brain and your spinal cord. Your awareness of the environment that you've created comes through the nerve system. And when you're inside that cerebral spinal fluid, inside that hollow tube that in the torus, T-O-R-U-S, is is the space in the donut. So physically, you are the donut, and energetically, you are the whole. And you can spell that with a W. And I just got that. Physically, you're the donut. Energetically, you're the whole. And that's when you can say with certainty in your consciousness, I am that I am. I'm just a big hole. I'm just the nothing of the donut. So this is why I listen to these videos probably more than anyone else does, because I feel like information comes through me during these videos, and it takes me a while to get the information that comes through. And the information may be coming from the I am that I am. And so we can all take credit for it. If it leads us to an understanding of ourself, if it leads us to a grounded centering in ourself, in our deep self, then I would say that we can all say that I have arrived at myself. And in myself is the whole. And around myself is the donut. Okay, that seems like enough for today. And I'm feeling very buzzy. And oh no, so I just got, I get these little messages. No, you're not done. So, okay, I'm not done. I thought I was done, but they told me I've got to work overtime. So, okay, so what do we need to do? Well, apparently, and this I think was a long video, we'll find out, but apparently during the time that this video was made, the event we went back to on a soul level has been resolved. All the souls that went back to the event have released and integrated the energy of the event for themselves. So I'm going to say a few words. I ask the interdimensional being. So yeah, the lights went on. It just happens. I like that. I ask the interdimensional being, the higher self, the deep self, and our soul group to assist all the souls that had gone back to the event to combine with that part of their soul that had remained at the event and bring that combined soul back into the body in present time with all of its wisdom, power, and clarity. I would ask the interdimensional being, the higher self, the deep self, and our soul group to assist the delivery of these new energies into the earth at this time, and I am to make some sounds as these new energies come in. So here come the new energies. And I ask that the new energies be activated. You hear the kitty in the background? I put her outside again so I can make the video. I'll let her in a moment. Okay, so the new energies have come in. I ask that all the souls that return to the event are grounded into the healing center of the earth. Help them to integrate being back in the physical form again. That the portal is open for these new energies to come in. The energies have come in and been activated. And I let the universe beyond know that this has taken place and that it's good. Okay. Good to be with you, and good to have had this experience with you. And if you have thoughts or questions, or you have interesting experiences as a result of watching this video, feel free to write them in the comment area, and be a little specific if you're willing to talk about, oh, I felt this tension in my chest and then I felt a release. Or when this happened, this happened. Any of that kind of stuff is really helpful to the other people who are doing this, because it opens up their mind to the possibilities of what can happen when you participate in a healing session, in a healing field, surrounded by these high level beings who are completely surrounding the field of you, holding not energies to change you, but holding energies that just hold the space for you to change you. And you're making the choices for the changes by feeling like, oh, I'm letting go of that. Oh, I'm letting go of that. Oh, I'm letting go of this. Oh, I don't need this anymore. All healing is change. All change is healing. So you have a lovely day today. I'm sure I'll be making a video tomorrow, probably at the time that the solar eclipse is kind of cruising south of here. All right, it's been a pleasure. It's a joy to know you, and I appreciate your comments. I do my best to keep the 4 agreements, to be impeccable with my word, to do my best, to not assume, and the 4th, one I work on the most, to not take it personally. And may you not take it personally as well. All right, it's a pleasure. And now let's go. And I'm glad to see that it was actually recording that whole thing, but we'll see when I watch it, and you'll see when you watch it, and have a lovely day.